Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get-together live on Facebook every single day of the week, 10:30 in the morning, where we gather and share headlines, news, stories, tips, questions about what it's like to live in Puerto Vallarta full-time as an English-speaking community. As always, I'm just shaking my chair. It's not that I'm feeling jumpy. Although it's going to be a jumpy day, we have all kinds of crazy news to share today. I tell you. um, where was I? Okay, so let me start again. This is Coffee and Headlines. We have crazy news to share today. There's always good news to share on any given day, but we're starting a new month. Maybe that's what it is. It is October 1st. It is International Coffee Day today, so how appropriate that we are having Coffee and Headlines on International Coffee Day. How appropriate that we're celebrating our 6-month anniversary with all kinds of personal news and important news. And yes, it is only Thursday. I was going to wait until Sunday to throw some truly tasteless tidbits at you, but hey, it's Thursday. We might as well do it on a Thursday. But I'll put up a warning so that you're not completely shocked. Anyhow, this is what we do. We get together every single day. We talk about what's going on, how it affects our lives. If this is the first time that you're joining us, welcome. Let us know that you're new here by writing the word new in your comments. That way we'll give you a proper welcome. And if you have any questions that are lingering, that are really important to you, add the letter Q to them so that we make sure to try and address them during the broadcast. And if not, we will address them shortly afterwards. And as always, it's great to see familiar faces here from all over the place. From Catherine, that's joining us from Toronto, to Sherry, who's in the Lake of the Ozarks. It's great to see everybody. Trucha is listening to Reason. I'm wondering what you're listening to. I don't feel very reasonable today. No, I'm just kidding. Paul joins us from South Boston. And I read in one of the comments a couple of days ago, Paul, that you've joined a vaccine trial. I hope that you will let us know how that goes for you. If you care to share, we would love to know how you decided to be part of a vaccine trial and what exactly is involved and how you're feeling and so forth and so on. It'll be nice to know what you've chosen to go through. I saw a comment about the weather somewhere. Yes, there it is. Logan is asking, can anybody else feel the change in the air? I certainly can. It's getting progressively cooler down here. It's very, very subtle. You have to be paying attention. But yes, it is a good thing to see that our weather is slowly going back to the usual fall, winter, drier weather, which we love so much. So there's a bunch of you here. And again, it's great to see you. New poster, Evan, from High Grant Pass, Oregon, coming down to PP on November 3rd with my lovely wife, Dawn. Awesome. Thank you very much for your kind remarks, Evan. I hope you come down here and find everything that you're looking for. And I hope you've made your research. And if you have any questions about what to expect, well, this is what we do here. We help one another with with whatever is on our minds. So today we have a reaction from the business community and the developer community about this whole business of the beaches being public, which we already know they are, but somehow some developers and business people tend to forget that. We also have news about what else do we have? We have um, news about our governor, crocodiles being captured. Um, it is also that time of year in which, of course, the fall season is upon us, winter is upon us, and we start thinking, oh my goodness, we have holidays coming up. What is it going to be like to be in Puerto Vallarta for those holidays, and which holidays will actually take place and which will not? Well, we're starting to take a look at some openings and closings elsewhere in the country that might give us a hint as to what we can expect here. We also mourn the passing of a very important person in our childhood. And when I say our childhood, I mean those of us that grew up in Mexico and or other countries in Latin America. And as I mentioned earlier, we are going to have a couple of truly tasteless tidbits to share with you. But I will give you enough warning so that you can go and turn the volume down or go refill your coffee or whatever. Anyhow, let's get going because we have all kinds of things to go through. So here is the music for the news. Bam! Pay close attention to this photograph. This photograph is something that goes on a regular basis in Puerto Vallarta. Restaurants and businesses closing up portions of the beach to benefit their patrons. Well, this is going to be fined with up to 1,000,000 pesos if you do it and you cannot prove that your property line entitles you to actually draw that line. And this, of course, has always been the case. It has never been really enforced, but now it's going to be because the beach in Mexico is for everyone and the beach is free access. So this is making some people feel a little ruffled. And it is not only restaurants, developments are also feeling the pressure because developments are known to do things like what we see on this image. And of course, this being now approved by the Senate means that that developers can also be fined, or private individuals building next to the beach that think they can get away with it. It is not going to happen anymore. So we'll just see how this goes moving forward. Let's see what's next. October 1st is also the day in which all this new labeling becomes mandatory in products that we buy at the supermarket. Here we're looking at products that have excess calories, excess sugars, excess saturated fats. They look like granola bars, and here we were thinking that granola bars were those very light products and healthy products. So this is now happening in Mexico. And oh my God, let me very quickly acknowledge something. It turns out that these potty mouth parrots have been all over the freaking news all over the world. I have seen a bunch of international headlines about them, but for the life of me, I have not been able to find specific footage of these particular British parrots. I mean, they must be keeping them in major. They're majorly sequestered or something. But I have found beautiful, gorgeous YouTube footage of other parrots that are equally as lively, and I will present a little bit of a segment about that on Sunday Funday. I'm sorry to get distracted. That one just jumped at me. Let me continue with headlines, and then I'll take another look at your comments. Anyhow, this is what's going on with the labeling. The labeling may not be surprising to those of you who come from north of the border, where labeling has been attached to food products for quite some time, if I recall. But this is very new down here in Mexico. I will be going to the supermarket in the next couple of days just to see how many of the products I usually shop for have changed in their labeling. I bought some pork rinds the other day and I barely noticed the label. And then I was halfway through the bag and I thought to myself, oh, well, what do you know? Here I was thinking that pork rinds were healthy stuff to eat. Anyhow, moving right along, it turns out that our governor, Enrique Alfaro, is among the top um, five best governors in the country, according to a list that in a poll that was produced by El Heraldo de Mexico, one of the local newspapers. Um, he is among the five best governors in the country, along with the Yucatan governor Mauricio Villa, Querétaro Governor Francisco Dominguez, Mexico City Governor Claudia Sheinbaum, and Sinaloa Governor Quirino Ordaz. It is good to know that our governor is among those with the highest approval rate. Yay. I also caught this news item of another crocodile being captured. Again, we've been talking about this. They are likely to show up during the rainy season. And this one, poor thing, was sauntering around Nuevo Vallarta in a residential area, and he was captured after 2 hours of work and a bait. He is a male crocodile, and now he is going to be transported to a place where he can be released safely. Um, Puerto Vallarta says to Nayarit, folks, open your beaches because your tourists are coming over here. Not that we don't want them, but the tourism people, the Secretary of Tourism in Jalisco, Germán Raliz Cumplido, has expressed his opinion about how Nayarit beaches should actually open to the public. They have been closed, but even though the tourism secretary respects the decision, he did say, well, it doesn't help if we are doing a joint strategy in developing tourism if we open and you don't open. Now, earlier in the program, I mentioned that we can start looking at some of the events that are coming up that are being held live or not that will give us an indication as to what we can expect here. Locally, of course, this time of year, we start thinking about Day of the Dead, we start thinking about Halloween, and so forth and so on. But it is important to notice that in Mexico City, Claudia Sheinbaum has already decided that the popular Day of the Death parade will be virtual. They don't specify how they're going to do this. They are thinking that people will saunter through a studio, or maybe it'll take place in a stadium. The article is not clear, but what seems to be clear is that Mexico City does not want thousands of people on the street while a Day of the Dead parade is taking place. Needless to say, the Day of the Dead parade in Puerto Vallarta does not draw that many people, but it does draw a lot of people to the Malecón, which has just been reopened. So we will have to wait and see exactly what we can expect to see here in Puerto Vallarta at the end of the month. In other news from Mexico City usually holds their traditional zombie parade in the middle of this month, and the zombie parade in Mexico City has been postponed also due to coronavirus. We don't know exactly when it will happen, but this is an informal, not informal, it is a formal parade that is not attached to any specific holiday, but the zombie march is something that Mexico City residents have been doing for over 13 years. And what the article does say that they've decided that the zombie march will take place virtually. So we don't know exactly how this is going to happen. A bunch of virtual zombies. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. Let me come back to my big screen so that I can take a look at some of your comments before we move on. Oh my God, what am I doing over here? I'm supposed to be, no. There you go. Never mind. Quick look at your comments. I saw a queue go by. Let's see. La 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 la. Karen says, tasteless tidbits. I'm not turning my volume down. Atta girl. Michael, I am so glad to see you because I'm going to address I'm going to react to that beautiful comment that you sent me earlier. So please stay put. Please stay put. I'm so very happy that you're here. Bum, ba-ding, bum, 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 bum. I was run off the beach behind a condo saying it was only for the people that stayed there. Well, I don't know where that was, Suzanne, but if it happened in Mexico, they cannot do that anymore. They have never been able to do that. In fact, you should notice, and I'm not an architect, and I could be wrong in my assertion, but if you notice when you drive um, along the hotel zone in Marina Vallarta, and even the hotel zone in on the main street here in Puerto Vallarta, if you look at one hotel and then the next and then the next, there often than not, more often than not, there is a little street in between the hotels that, in my mind, allows for people to be able to go in and out of the ocean at all kinds of spots. But what a lot of hotels have done is they've closed down those accesses, preventing people to just walk from one end of the beach, I mean, from the beach to the street. So I wonder if by law, hotels are required to build these throughways, and by tradition or by habit, they build them and then they just block them whenever they open their facilities. But again, I'm speculating. Don't pay attention to me. Michael, if you missed the Potty Mouth Parrots news item the other day, that is something that we're going to continue to revisit. Don't worry about it. Dan asks, what about beaches with concessions who charge to sit in their boundaries? Again, if the boundary of the beach place is within their zone, see, the beach is federal zone, but needless to say, there has to be a point between the beach and where private property begins. So let's say that you're sitting at any of the let's say that you're sitting at Swell or you're sitting at Mantamar. Mantamar could argue, or Swell could argue, well, you are sitting inside of our private property. But they would have to produce some kind of plan that shows that you are actually inside of private property. Now, where the property line is at the beach, that would be a very tedious thing to put posts and this, that, and the other. But unfortunately, the fact that you don't necessarily indicate where your property line is on the beach, has led to all kinds of abuses from businesses that just won't let you sit where you want to sit. Um, Thank you for sharing your experience with us, Paul. It is good to know that this is going on, and I certainly hope you'll keep us posted. And I hope that your experience has a good outcome. I really really do. La la li, la 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 la. Da, dee, da, 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 da. It will be It will be interesting to see how this new law affects new buildings that are actually on the beach in the San Pancho area. I know. And San Pancho has been one of those places where there's been a lot of polemic and controversy between business owners and condo developers and the residents at large. Um, Sarah says there have been plenty of people on the beaches in Guayabitos, Nayarit for the last 2.5 months. I know. It's one of those things in which the government has said the beaches are closed, but apparently the government is turning a blind eye. It's one of those things. Li la li la la. Ma, 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 ma. Oh, we'll get to that in a second, Craig. Yes, Mantamar, it needs more than chlorine these days. Let's see. More comments on Mantamar. You guys are getting ahead of me. We'll get to that in a second. Linda asks, what is COVID outlook in Puerto Vallarta end of October? Oh, Linda, there's no such thing as a crystal ball that allows us to predict COVID at the end of the month. That would be 30 days from now. Any more that we can predict cyclones or things. What I can tell you, Linda, is that the disease is on a descent. The rate of contagion is descending. Everybody is trying to abide by the guidelines, or most people are. If you're down here at the end of October, you may find that it is what you want and what you need. You may not. I cannot comment on whether you're going to be safer or not as safe as where you are, because I don't know where you are. But I don't know of anyone that can predict what COVID outlook in Puerto Vallarta will be at the end of a month. I wish I did, because then I would be able to tell you that Day of the Day parade will continue as planned, and so forth and so on. And I'm not trying to be smart here, but I'm just saying it has less to do with what's going on and has more to do with your own personal responsibility and your own decision to say, okay, I'm going to come here and do what I want to do in Puerto Vallarta. It was behind Buenaventura during the summer. Somehow I'm not surprised. La, 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 la. I have a friend. Exactly. I have a friend who used to always smoke at La Palapa. They cannot tell you not to smoke when you are sitting on the beach, outside, you know. And yes, the video has gone viral about sex in the pool at Mantamar. We are going to get into that in a second. Talk about a bad place to go teabagging. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. Boom, 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 boom. My goodness, there's a lot of comments about the beach property law and so forth and so on. Well, it's the kind of thing that it's important. Eleanor says, we keep losing you. I haven't lost you, Eleanor. Maybe there's something wrong with your bandwidth. Colette, who has a restaurant on the beach. Restaurants pay a concession fee to the government to allow us to put tables, chairs on a certain portion of the beach. We own the tables, chairs, so yes, can charge a fee to use, but yes, the beach is public regardless of the fee we pay, but we pay for the right to use a portion of it. That's very helpful to know. Okay, so I guess it is now time for the weather, and then we'll move into more interesting things. Let's do that. Okay, it's 28 degrees. It's hotter than yesterday. It feels like 32. It is 82 Fahrenheit. Oh my God, snarky carrot weather says, you probably think this sunshine means things are starting to look up for you. They're not. My goodness, we have a 1% chance of precipitation right now. Humidity is at 81%, which is actually quite lovely for us. 81%, maybe the humidity is finally starting to lower, to diminish, to decrease, to go away. Forecast for today is that it's going to be humid through the day. And tomorrow, we will also have humidity through the day, no signs of rain, and the same thing for Saturday, which is great because it's going to be another day for me to go with my friend Logan to feed the horses in El Jorullo. We're going to talk about that. And now, as I promised, we're going to have what I am calling, where is it? There it is. A truly tasteless tidbit. Now, I know that some of you, for example, when we do the COVID-19 update, some of you decide to mute your volume because you don't want to hear any more COVID news, and I don't blame you. This is why we only talk about facts and figures and so forth and so on once a week. So if you have a certain dislike for truly tasteless information, which sometimes we share and we love doing it, I am going to keep this notice up along with the farting kitty so that you can go do your chores or pay attention to other things. And oh my God, I can't believe Jamie Coates is here because you're coming in on the conversation today again. Oh my goodness, this is wonderful. Anyhow, but first, truly tasteless tidbit. Number one, and again, if you don't want to hear the truly tasteless, go somewhere else. Whenever you see the farting kitty disappear, it is safe to turn the volume up. Um, this is just a selfish, truly tasteless bit that came to my mind last night. I was fighting insomnia, and I must say, speaking of farting kitty, that I've never had any problems with the winds that come out from under between my legs. In fact, I find them rather amusing. Nor have I ever had a problem with the way they smell. In fact, sometimes the way they smell, these winds, makes me laugh. They make Luna's eyebrows go funny, and Luna looks at me and it's like, really, Dad, cut it out. But last night it occurred to me, I caught myself in a habit that I hadn't realized I've developed. In this habit, and you don't have to acknowledge that you're doing the same thing. I'm going to be the one that's going to like put this out there. But when you consider that one of the important symptoms of COVID 19 is losing your sense of smell, I caught myself last night, you know, having a little wind and in bed. And Luna turned around and she gave me this look saying, "Oh God, there you go again." And I found myself taking a dip. I took a dip whiff and I could smell the wind. And I thought to myself, well, I can smell that wind. I must not have coronavirus. And for better or for worse, yes, I am talking about my farts, Julie. It is the truly tasteless tidbit of the day, the first one. Anyhow, I don't know if you were doing this, but I am doing this. You know, for me, for better or worse, it's become a major sign of relief if I'm lying in bed at night or if I'm walking out and about and all of a sudden wind takes over me. And, you know, if I can smell it, then it's a good thing because I don't have COVID. The end. That was truly tasteless tidbit number one. Thank you. And now, for truly tasteless tidbit number two, I may need to accessorize. No, no, we need to keep that up. Otherwise, people will come back. Let me see. I need to accessorize for this. Ah, there you go. We need to go underwater to cover this next bit of business because um, some people got caught doing some interesting things underwater at Mantamar. And thank you, Paul. I know that that was tasteless, but I don't care. I bet you do it too. So there. Anyhow, what happened at Mantamar is that if you haven't seen it, good Lord, you know, two guys decided, Mantamar has this transparent pool, and two guys decided that they would remove their bathing suits and just be friendly with one another right on Los Muertos beach. And then one guy wrapped his legs around the other, and I saw the video. This was captured on video. And then they gave us the sideways look, and then they put on their bathing suits. And of course, we don't know what they did or what they didn't do. And somebody sent me this last night, and I thought, oh my, I thought, well, this is actually happening. And I'm not going to pay attention to it, was my first reaction. The second reaction was, well, I'm going to bring it up in Sunday Funday because it's actually quite funny. But then I thought to myself, by the time Sunday Funday comes and goes, this will be old news. So I might as well bring it up today. And then I realized it made state headlines, and then I realized it made national headlines. So I am going to react to this because I can, and I am going to say this. I would be the worst person to frown upon this, only because For better or for worse, I can proudly say that while living in Boston and in my younger years, I I must confess to having dropped my pants and raised them back up in all kinds of colorful places when it came to displaying my family jewels out in public or putting them to good use with a company of other men. So I would be a total hypocrite if I said, well, this is just horrible. It shouldn't happen. But of course, that was then and this is now. Now we live in this age in which everybody carries a cell phone and everybody can just start filming something and everybody can have an opinion about everybody. And of course, we live in a world where some of our world leaders have made us become divisive about everything and anything there is out there. And public shaming is a new sport and way of life. This is probably no, this is too much. This is too much, and this doesn't offend me, but I know that it will and has offended other people. I mean, back when I was in the bushes next to the Charles River getting laid in Boston, the last thing on my mind was, my legacy. I was not thinking about my legacy. I was not thinking about the well-being of myself or the people around me or my community or my city or my planet. I would be a hypocrite saying that I was thinking about those things. I wasn't. And I'm sure those guys that were in that pool couldn't have been thinking about their legacy or their impact on our city or the environment or their community or their lives or the planet. But shit happens. I mean, one of those guys could have been an insurance agent, and I'm sure that they're going to be identified. And maybe their boss is going to find out that they did that. They could lose their job, and the place has already been fined. And I wonder if they thought about that, when they decided to do it. And David Dunphy says, haha, you were in the fence. And I say, haha, was I ever? Was I ever? But going back to this incident at Mantamar, the guys or the people that filmed it, I wonder if they thought of the impact of filming it. And when they posted it, I wonder if they thought about that. I understand the one side in which something is really not acceptable. But then I also understand the other side in which, this is a big bay, and the beautiful thing about the size of our bay is that there is enough sand for people to have their own sandbox. There's enough room for everybody. So was it foolish for these guys to go and teabag in a transparent pool? Well, I certainly wouldn't have done it. First of all, my love lumps would probably prevent my privates from being able to slam against the window or the wall of the pool. And I truly doubt that you want to see my love handles or other love lumps that I have in the middle of my body. So I would never think of doing that. Anyhow, it is unfortunate that it happened. And I understand that from what I've read that Mantamar has been fined. But, this is not what the gay community is. This is not what anybody is. This is just one of those cases in which people are doing things, from the people that were in the pool to the people that posted the video to the people that shared it and posted it everywhere. We're all doing things and we're probably not thinking much about their consequences. And I wish I had something more helpful to share with this, but it's and Terry nailed it. All types of people behave badly and all types use filters, and it is what it is. So with that said, let me get rid of, where are my things? Boom and boom. Okay, you can come back now. Let me take a quick look at your comments just to see where everybody is. Bum, ba-ding, bum, 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 bum. Oh, God. Oh, good Lord. Does Luna have a medical degree? Oh, yes, she does. Yes, she does. Mike says, lucky I am alone. Well, I am not. I am with Luna. And Luna is not necessarily keen on my being windy. But I love it. Joe doesn't use wind. Joe uses peanut butter. I love it. Jeannie appreciates the tip. Sue thinks it was a good idea. I love it. Um, how does Luna react? She just looks at me with that what the fuck look on her face. That's what she does. Um, Heather, I wish you were here sometimes because I could use your loud, loud, loud laughter. Smell it, no virus. Is it normal to fart more the older you get? Well, oh dear. I don't know about you, Kathleen, but I have become quite outspoken in, in that department. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There are studies that say smelling your own farts can keep you healthy. I'll subscribe to that. I love it. So, farting is a way to detect COVID. At my home, it is. Absolutely. Um, why hasn't the CDC and World Health Organization listed this as a precautionary measure on their sites? I don't know. Maybe they haven't. They're just not talking about it. Da, 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 da. Michael Cornell brings up a very important point. It's not the first time in that pool. You know, I've been in pools where people get naked. I've gotten naked in pools, but I made sure that I was not like in a transparent pool, and I was made sure that there were no cameras hanging around. That's for sure. And yes, national headlines. You know, talk about yay Puerto Vallarta pride. La la li, la 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 la. James feels it is too much. Bum, ba-ding, bum, 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 bum. I had hospital acquired COVID in mid April and I still can't smell or taste anything. I am so sorry to hear that, Kelsey. I hope your sense of smell and taste comes back. Um, Ernesto thinks that they should be paying a good fine. The thing about Puerto Vallarta is they never publish what the fines are like. Um, and Paul brings up an interesting point. You know, we tend to normalize the number of murders and that go on in any given place, but all of a sudden we get all shocked about this. Good point. Maybe they were drinking. You think? Well, I'm sure they're not drinking today. Um, who amongst us has not had sex in a pool? Um, I have. I have, but again, I made sure that the wall was not transparent. Dun 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 dun. Woo! Lots of comments on this situation. We still have a little bit more to go. So I'm going to get past the Mantamar business. Uh, oh my goodness! Kathleen says there's a Herb Alpert documentary coming out today. This is very exciting because Herb Alpert, important trumpet player, he was one of the founders of A&M Records, and it'll be interesting to watch. I also got a tip that there is a documentary on Canadian record producer David Foster on Netflix, but unfortunately, it is not available on Netflix here in Mexico. But I'm going to look for that, so I will definitely keep you posted on. Oh my. Sniffing your partner's farts could help ward off disease. Okay, no, we're done with the totally tasteless segment, so I'm not going to react to these comments anymore. Anyhow, moving on with other headlines before I acknowledge a personal situation. Um, Christmas is back. I just thought I'd let you know that. In case you haven't noticed, this is a photo of La Comer, and Christmas is back, and it's only October the 1st. Oh my God, we have to talk about Mafalda. I told you that we would talk about Mafalda. No, I didn't. I posted that we would talk about Mafalda. Mafalda is a beloved character created by a very important cartoonist from Argentina, and his name is Joaquin. I have it written down here in my notes. His name is Joaquin Lavado, who died yesterday at the age of 83. Joaquin Lavado published Mafalda, a cartoon about this little girl between 1964 to 1973. She often spoke about capitalism, economy, and the world order, or the lack of world order. And Mafalda is as important in Latin American cultures as Charlie Brown and Peanuts and all these wonderful characters that were created by the late Charles Schulz. So if you hear your Mexican friends talking about Mafalda, it's because we all grew up with her, and her sense of humor is just precious. So because it's Spanish humor. I'm going to recommend that you find Mafalda comic books, and they can be found at bookstores, so that you can learn a little bit of Spanish through them if you care to. I have found this one cartoon that is from the 60s that is very timely today to give you a sense as to the humor. Here we see Mafalda chatting with her friend Libertad. The word Libertad means liberty, and yes, the word Libertad, the word liberty, is a common name in Spanish. So Mafalda is asking her friend Liberty, um, so what about your dad, Liberty? Who is he voting for in the next elections? And Liberty answers, "Oh, don't even bring it up. The look on his face." And then Mafalda says, "Ah, so he has not decided on a candidate." And Liberty answers, "Oh, yes, he's made up his mind. And you should see the look on his face." So Mafalda cartoons had this whole sense of satirical commentary that was perhaps too subtle for children to appreciate unless you were a smart kid. But the comic books were equally engaging for adults. So that is Mafalda, or that was the character of Mafalda. So if you ever run into her books in a bookstore, please know that these characters are as dear and precious to us here in Mexico and the rest of Latin America as Charlie Brown, Peanuts, Linus, Lucy, and so forth. We talked about this brand new series that is coming up on Netflix, called Someone Has to Die. And it's going to be a major production on Netflix that is coming up very, very soon, that sets place in Spain in the 1950s, where two very powerful families are trying to get their kids married, and the son of one family arrives from Mexico, and he arrives with his male ballet dancing boyfriend, and it's going to be what in Mexico we call a culebrón. And culebrón is a great word because the word culebra means snake, and a culebrón is a snaky, is either a snaky woman, a vile, evil woman, or Culebrón is a soap opera that is full of vile drama and murder and horrible things. So this is going to be an absolutely wonderful series. I will leave you with a trailer for it. And the last thing that I want to share with you before I acknowledge a special message is that Logan and I are going to be going to El Jorullo again tomorrow Saturday, to distribute some money to feed horses. As you know, we've been doing this fundraiser among friends to help feed a community of horses, or rather, the owners of these horses is a cooperative that makes trips to horseback riding trips that you can enjoy in that part of town that is so close to the city and so much in the forest. So anyhow, that is pretty much what I have for today, but I wish to very quickly acknowledge a wonderful message that I received yesterday from our new friend Michael, who is an opera singer and who is moving to Puerto Vallarta with his husband in the near future. Michael has been a regular of this broadcast, and he sent me this beautiful, touching message, saying, "You've no idea how much comfort you bring to us as we're getting ready to move to Puerto Vallarta." And what I have to say to you, Michael, is I appreciate your words very much. But essentially, what we do here at Coffee and Headlines is, we pay it forward. I mean, when I moved to Puerto Vallarta 18 years ago, almost 19, I'd never set foot in this town. I left everything that I had because I needed to go on this hunch that I was going to be okay here. And I knew one or two people. In fact, I only knew one person that I had met through email, but I had no friends down here. And I'm not saying that for you to feel sorry for me. Quite the contrary. I mean, what we do here is because we do this so that when you are in the position to pay forward something for somebody else, you do that. And I mentioned Jamie Coates earlier because I remember when I first moved here, Jamie Coates was the owner of the only cyber cafe south of the Isla Rio Cuale. And he had a bulletin board, and I remember reading about Puerto Vallarta through these bulletin boards and websites. You could count the number of websites about Puerto Vallarta with one hand, and those were the only resources available to anyone trying to find out what was going on here. So I mentioned this because we all are in this privileged position as Puerto Vallarta English speaking locals to pay forward what we know and what we do about living here. So, Michael, I know that you're going to have a wonderful time down here. I know you're an opera singer. I already know exactly how I'm going to put you to good use, although I don't want to tell you what that's going to be like because I don't want you to be frightened. Not yet, anyhow. But I already decided what your concert program is going to be like. If you ever are curious about it, just let me know, and I'll let you know. You may be shocked, and you may never want to talk to me again, but that's okay. For the rest of us, let us keep being kind to one another. Let us keep paying forward what we know about Puerto Vallarta. Let us keep holding hands with people that need some help that want to be helped. And let us hope that when those people remember the kindness that we shared with them, that they will then share that kindness with other people moving forward. And I am rambling, so this is probably a good time to close the show. And thank you. Actually, let me take a quick look at your final comments just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Christy grew up with her. A lot of people that grew up with Herb Alpert. Yay! Yes, I heard. I grew up with Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. My parents played it all the time, and there's some great stories over there. Let's see. People voting. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. Carlos asks if I have paid my taxes. That must be double entendre. I'm not going to pay much attention to that just yet. Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. Yes. No. The comfort comes from all of us, guys. The comfort comes from all of us. We have the ability to be as kind as we can, and it's a good thing that we are. I guess you have mentioned it before, but I have not watched your show for a few days. Lovely place that you're broadcasting from. Can see more of it and tell us about it. Great show today. You are looking at my living room, actually, Anna. You're looking at my living room. I was broadcasting from a tiny little study that I have here in the apartment, but I was feeling like it was too enclosed. I needed more space. So you can even hear the church bells here. I think those are church bells. So yes, this is my living room. Michael says, just don't make me sing naked. No, it has nothing to do with nudity, Michael. If you want, I will tell you on Sunday, Fun Day, what my plans are for your first Puerto Vallarta recital. It's going to be wonderful. Anyhow, winding down, no pun intended, after all that conversation about wind. So this is probably a good time to leave. James Binder asks, is that a real microphone? It is as real as they get. And with that news, let's get out of here. This has been our broadcast for the first day of October. May the wind keep flowing. May the weather keep changing. May you stay calm. May you stay happy. May you stay kind to one another. And stay in touch. And hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow. And if you laughed today, if you found something useful in the show, if you want to contribute to the continuation of these broadcasts, the link is right there. Have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.